Hello guys, welcome again. As you all know how much I love to cook, I decided this day I am going to make a nice oxtail stew with dumplings. So right over here, I was preparing the dough. I'd already mixed my dry ingredients, which is flour, sugar, salt, and yeast. And I'm using lukewarm water, and I'll add a dash of oil just to make my dough less sticky as I mix it so that it can also bind well once I've mixed everything together. The weather was not so great on this day, but I also thought it could never hurt to have some comfort food. So what better way to have comfort food than to have a nice South African dumpling with oxtail? Just how your mother, grandmother would have made it. Jokes, but I mean, the you get the idea of it. It's just mainly dumpling and a stew. So I'm just gonna keep voicing over just to explain what I'm doing. I've cleaned my island, by the way, before I started doing this, but because I had the intention of using it to mold my dough once I started mixing it with the spoon and it kind of firmed up a bit. I needed to bind the ingredients together, but I was going to use the island. So you'll see me do that in a second. And yeah, I hope you just enjoy me making this food, and maybe it sparks your interest to go in the kitchen and dare yourself to do something that's um, challenging, interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, a dough can either go one way or the other, depending on how much of the ingredients you use. So it is so nice to just challenge yourself and try and do something that you might enjoy, that is, enjoy eating or enjoy the whole process of cooking. So, yeah, guys, just enjoy this, and I will see you in a bit. once the dough is done, I'm just going to put everything back in a bowl and cover it tightly. The one thing that I use as a trick is using this paper wrap just to seal the bowl tightly, and then I wrap it with a kitchen towel because it kind of gives it that warmth so that the yeast can make the dough rise, and then I keep it in a warm place and come back to it in 40 minutes to about an hour. So yeah, I'll leave that to rest, and then I'll heat up and come back once the dough is ready to kind of bring down again. And I'm just gonna pop the bubbles when I come back after an hour. So just so I can just give it one last then I can start with my stew again. And yeah, I'll see you guys again. Then let me just clean up and wait for that to rise.
Bad bitch. All this pussy.
After by now, you must all be very confused, angry, frightened. I can only assure you that everything that's happened to you, everything we've done to you, it is all done for a reason. You won't remember.
Now my dough has risen to about twice the size. It was almost sticking to the cling wrap. Luckily, like I said, I use actually I never mentioned I use just a regular canola oil to just rub on the dough to just keep it less sticky. As you can see, I'm having little to no trouble getting it out of the bowl. And I'm just gonna pop the bubbles again and knead just one last time, put it back in the bowl, and then start with my stew because I'm actually satisfied with how it had risen to double the size. I'll bring it down back to its size that I did earlier, and it will still rise, but I will attend to it once I have cooked my meat and my stew and everything's just ready for the dough to steam in the juices of the stew. So yeah, I'll let that set aside and start with my other item that I'm cooking this day, which I've mentioned. It's the oxtail.
It may be too late for us. Good enough for you. The outside world awaits. Remember.
Now I had let my oxtail defrost, but I did not succeed. So my idea here was to try maybe brown it first in the pot because meat that is defrosted does kind of brown and render some fat. So just because I did not succeed, I decided, you know what, I'll just add water now because in any case, to cook the stew, I do need water for the meat to cook down. And here I was just trying to break the pieces away so they can evenly cook and not have areas that are going to take longer to cook because I don't want to have soft meat and then bits that are tough and hard to chew or to just that will just stick between teeth and have braces. It's just a whole mess if I have to think about it. So I want to make sure that this meat cooks down nicely, tenderly, almost falling off the bone, and just gonna let that separate in the pot and gonna let it kind of brown a bit with the water because I can achieve browning it with just putting it in the pot because it's still fairly frosted in between. So yeah, I'm just gonna let that go and I will add ingredients as I go. I added more water and let the meat kind of steam and simmer for almost maybe more than an hour. Yeah, I just had to make sure. And right now, I was satisfied with how it had simmered down and how the meat actually felt when I went to stir it. So I prepared my veggies already on the side. I pre-cut some potatoes, I pre-cut some carrots. So I'm gonna let the potatoes steam with the meat so that they can cook down as well because I still need the meat to simmer a little bit more. And I think at this point, brought down the heat of the stove. So yeah, I'm just gonna let everything simmer. And I'm adding my chili, my onion now, and I'm gonna keep adding more ingredients. And yeah, this was such a delicious dish, and it is such a comfort food, man. It is wonderful and quite nice to have like a very veggie, tasty type of stew. And one thing I like to add on all my stews is the no cubes. That's a beef cube, and I will add garlic to it for taste. And the no tubes just give it, you know, that South African stew flavor that I was talking about earlier. That you bring out with these no tubes. It will give you a stew that you've had at your mother's, your grandmother's house, your auntie's, your neighbor's house, you know. So then I keep adding spices and other things and to taste, and I'll just let this pot simmer. And once everything is binded nicely and I am happy with it, then I'll start adding more things to just give it a thickness and more water. I think I did add more water here because I'm actually gonna do make dumplings, sorry. So I need them to also steam in the stew, uh, almost like right at the end when the meat is completely cooked and done. But just like when it's like, okay, not completely, but like at 90 to 92% cooked down, because then that 8% will go to the dumpling to steam, and it also will just help the meat to just soften a bit more, and it'll just be so tender and nice when you start eating it, and it'll just make everything so nice. So, and the one thing that is so lovely about having dumplings as well is the base of the dumpling will have that stew taste. It won't be wet or soggy. It will just have that nice stew taste. So just makes this whole dish so nice and enjoyable and comforting. And like if you're under the weather, this is a meal to go. I don't know if you would have the energy when you're under the weather to do all of this work, but on a cool, cold winter, rainy, one of those days, this would be the perfect meal to enjoy. So, yeah, I'll just let you guys continue watching and I'll check back.
After everything they've done to us. It's not that simple. Yeah, I think it is that simple.
You don't understand.
What do I understand?
Everything was fine until you.
Please, what are you telling me? Let's go. I don't know. He just woke up and grabbed the gun and tried to. Listen, okay? It's room. Don't let me experience one of those things. Hey, Winston can get infected. We should assume so can the rest of us. I never thought I'd say it. I miss the quiet.
Apa Mas?
Get up!
should be wrong. Cause you get wild. That's what I told you. And all I get is wild thoughts. Wild, wild, wild. Wild thoughts. I prepared my dumpling balls on the side. I made nice similar sized balls that could possibly just enter and fill this pot. The stew is to my satisfaction at this point. There's enough liquid in the stew to steam these dumplings. So now I'm just transferring the balls that I just prepared into the pot, and then I will kind of let it steam, and the the oil that I'd used to kind of let the dough not stick is actually coming in very handy, because look at the little to no dough that is left once I kind of play around with it and let it go. It is not sticking to my board. It was not sticking to my hands. I just have to wash them because obviously my hands are sticky, dirty-ish. So yeah, I will let these steam for a bit. And you just make sure you let them do some steaming, because you don't want to disturb and keep checking on them, because they need to thoroughly cook from the top, underneath, and inside. So just let the pot and the meat, the steam from the meat in the pot do its thing, and you will have a lovely meal waiting for you. And make sure, if you haven't turned down the heat, to actually do, because I did that once I had transferred the dough into the pot. So just make sure you turn down the heat is my main advice at this point, because the main goal here is not to cook anything down, but to let the steam inside the pot cook the dumpling, because you don't want to burn your stew that's already in the pot, and you don't want to overcook some of the vegetable items that are already in the pot. So yeah, yeah, we come back again once we start dishing, because at this point these are going to come out nice and fluffy. You'll see right at the end, and they would have cooked perfectly, because I've made a few dumplings in my life at this point, so I know when to take them out and when to have a look, when to check, and so on. So yeah, I will come back once we are done with the cooking. So one trick that I feel like is a trick that's been passed on from generation to generation, to check things that you're cooking, stewing, that are can like, don't like, to ensure that you've cooked everything down to the center, is to stick a sharp knife in the middle, and right, stick it right to the middle where you think is the middle of whatever it is that you're cooking, baking, and bring it back out. If there's still a bit of stickiness in the knife, is no stickiness on the knife, like it comes out clean. Your whatever item you're cooking, bread, cake, or your muffin, whatever, is perfectly cooked. It's ready to serve. So at this point, I was happy with my dumplings, and I'll just transfer them back to that bowl that I was actually showing you how fluffy they felt with the kitchen tongs. I transferred them back to the bowl that I used earlier to make the dough, let it rise because I cleaned it up. And at this point, I was just checking in on meat because I didn't want anything burning at the base of the pot. So luckily, I didn't have much sticking down there, and I just had to stir and make sure that my stew wasn't dry, and if dry, try to fix that, because the main idea is to serve a nice stew that you can dip the dumpling that you've made in the sauce. So yeah, I think at this point I did taste some of the meat to just check the tenderness of it, and then I may have added, or I don't know what I may have added some, yeah, just because I feel like looking at it, I may have added water or something just to make this stew a bit more thickened, and actually it is. So I probably did not add anything because I honestly can't remember at the end what I did with the pot of meat that I was cooking, but everything ended up tasting so nicely. And as you can see, I am just trying out parts and bits of this meat because it seems to be tasting good at this point. So yes, I did actually add water. So I added this water just to bring some fluidity back into the stew. I didn't want to make it too thin as well, so you see I added a dash of water, and just to maintain the thickness of the stew. And y'all, we will be ready to serve this in no time.
This is interesting because according to the autopsy, only the lower arms, legs, hands, feet, and head were present in the bodies when collected by police. No back strap was found, though again, what exactly Scott is referring to is unknown. But his words flow too smoothly here compared to his other lies. So it seems that regardless of what he managed to actually do, he viewed Lisa as little more than an animal to be slaughtered. He went out of his way to cut out what he thought would be the tastiest portions of her.
Wait, what?
Clyde seems to be a family dog, though this isn't confirmed. Similarly to how Scott was trying to convince the detectives of Lisa's burning passion for him, he also seems to be trying to convince them that what he did wasn't despicable or utterly insane, because she just tasted like steak.
Let me ask you this, before you cut her up, or any time during you cut her up, did you give her blood, or did you have liver again? No. So basically what you done, you just got busy trying to dispose of her. Did you take any other organs out, just the heart? Something else is in control. So we're waiting for her to do that. I don't know what was going on in my head.
It's curious that Scott keeps mentioning how he wasn't in control of his actions, while at the same time providing excruciating detail on exactly what those actions were, and at times, exactly why he did them. It's possible that he may be trying to set up a half.
And there you have it. A nice oxtail stew with a side of dumplings. I was dishing for myself and my sister, so we enjoyed this meal. It was so nice. Bye, guys. Till next time.